Hi, welcome to the Catholic Messenger Conversations podcast. I'm Dan, your host, the editor of the Catholic Messenger. We are going to be talking to Bishop Walsh today. He's back after a bit of a hiatus on the podcast, and we're happy to have him here. I've also got my co-host Lindsay Steele, the diocesan reporter. So we're going to ask some questions, but before we get into that, let's talk about our sponsor. We're sponsored in part today by Religious Supply Center, featuring church supplies, gifts, cards, and memories. Located at 1301 Jersey Ridge Road in Davenport. You can reach them at 563-324-0669. More information is at religioussupply.com. So now let's get into it. Well, Bishop, we had a few technical difficulties, but we overcame, and we're here to talk. So there's been a lot of different travels and adventures you've been in lately. So let's start with one that I know got a lot of news, which was you went to the annual bishops' meeting in Baltimore. One of the biggest news stories to come out of that was the statement on immigration, which it was unlike anything that had been released in many years, since I guess the 2008 or 2009. Can you tell us a little bit about that statement and what went into it, and why the bishops decided to go that route?
Sure, it's good to be here with you. The bishops meet twice a year as a body. So the fall plenary session is the largest session every year. Probably it's the best attendance of all the bishops that time of year. But this year, when we arrived, there was a announcement that a statement was requested from the body of bishops, and it's the first time that the bishops as a body have issued a statement like this in quite some time. So when the bishop the president requested of one of the committees to prepare a draft statement on behalf of all the bishops on immigration, and the concern that many bishops have regarding the immigration enforcement here in the United States by the administration has been that a concern that it's not respectful of the dignity of human persons and is a violation of due process rights, and many bishops are quite concerned, and many of our bishops have heard from their people about living under fear. And it was really believed that a statement was helpful to speak to the Catholic community of the United States on behalf of the bishops, basically saying that we've heard their concerns, and we express our concern and our dismay about the actions of the administration regarding immigration. So.
And I know when we talked for the newspaper article, you had said this idea of balance between treating people with dignity, but also regulating or enforcing the law fairly. How has it been received since that statement was released? It's been a little while. Have you heard any feedback from?
I have not heard much from our diocese. I know other bishops have heard quite a bit from many of their people. I think Catholics, for the most part, have to be careful that their conscience is not being formed by their political platforms. And there's a real risk of that happening, where the opinion of the church or the teaching of the church really is dismissed as opinion. In this world where opinions sort of vie for attention on social media, oftentimes the authentic teaching of the church is dismissed as just another opinion voice that's out there in the media. But the bishops have a privileged teaching position in the church, and Catholics need to be careful that they not allow their conscience to be formed by political opinion. Rather, it should be formed by the authentic teaching of the church.
And you did a good job of summarizing that for me in the few moments that we spoke. Could you do that again, and just, if you had to summarize it for a lay person in maybe a minute or two, how would you describe the teaching of the church on immigration?
Sure. The teaching of the church is it's not. Some people say that this is just Francis's thing. Pope Francis just started teaching this. However, it's been a pretty long-standing teaching of the church. The church's teaching on migration. Actually, the definitive text was after the Second World War by Pope Pius XII, who wrote an encyclical letter, Ex Sol Familia, and that teaching has been reiterated by all the popes really since the 1950s, and even before in terms of natural law and Leo XIII. all of it is an articulation of the church's teaching on migration. And what the church teaches is that governments cannot prevent people from migrating for various reasons, whether it's economic reasons, it's for safety and security reasons of their family, many reasons that a person may want to take their family and migrate to another area that is better economically, that they can feed their family, and also places that might be safer for their families. So the church has authentically taught that everyone has the right to migrate. At the same time, however, that government also has the right to put in place regulations to regulate that process of migration. However, the government, according to the church, cannot prohibit migration, but they can only regulate it. And in doing so, they always have to make sure and provide that there's always due process for everybody involved, as well as a respect for human dignity.
Well, that's a good summary, and I'm gonna switch gears here a little bit because you get around a lot, Bishop, especially lately. You've been going to a lot of places. You went to the National Catholic Youth Conference in Indianapolis for the first time in your life. Can you tell me what were some things that you thought were interesting about that? What would you take with you from that experience?
Sure. As a pastor, I've always been very engaged with youth ministry, but this is the first time that I've ever gone to NCYC. I know Diocese of Davenport has been going for many, many years to NCYC. My previous diocese, we did not go on a regular basis to NCYC. We would do other Catholic camps, but not NCYC. So this is my first time at NCYC. I was just blown away by the enthusiasm and just the large numbers. And I think it's good, first of all, for young people to see that the church is larger than their parish community. And oftentimes when young people go to church with their parents, it's boring, it's not engaging, and they don't see many people their own age. But for a young person to go to NCYC is just a different experience where young people get to see 15,000 other people their own age who are excited about the faith. So it really builds faith for young people, and it excites people about the faith. Just talking to kids about what their takeaway. I've always asked the kids, I said, what did you like most about the NCYC experience? They say adoration, and also the closing Mass. And the third thing was the Holy Father, the encounter with the Holy Father via Zoom. So those were the takeaways, and they were all very, very excited about that. And for a young person, just to be in that atmosphere of really joy and excitement about the faith is just a new experience for everyone. And I think it builds faith and inspires them.
Now, one last line of questioning that I had for you is: you are a bishop and Christmas is coming. That's probably one of the busiest times for you. How do you keep your own personal spirit up while you're actually quote unquote working throughout the season? Because for a lot of us, it's a break. We get to reflect for Advent and then celebrate for Christmas. But for the clergy and for bishops in particular, it's got to be, you have to be on. So what's your strategy on how to deal with all that?
Well, I say for pastors and parish priests, it is a very busy time. However, as a bishop, it's actually pretty relaxing. We had a conference call with the 4 bishops of Iowa yesterday, and one of the Bishop John Keener, who is the Bishop of Sioux City, said, it's a pretty quiet time as a bishop, right? So we don't have all the parish activities and stuff that an ordinary parish priest would have. So my days are pretty much filled with the same thing my days were with prior to Advent, and they're a little quieter actually, and it is an opportunity for me to dedicate myself to my own personal preparation. And catching up on reading and praying and so forth. So.
Well, you just gave me a surprising answer. So let me ask you this. What do you do with your free time when you're not so busy? Because we have this impression that bishops are always on the go, I guess.
I'd say when I have free time, it's usually reading, because as a bishop, there's a lot of reading that is done. Everybody is sending you books to review, and there's always documents to be read, and the Pope is always writing a new document and all sorts of things that happen on a regular basis. So when I say my free time is really catch-up time. So usually during the days I have meetings. In my preparation time and my study time, usually that's done in the evenings. But I don't have a lot of personal time where I can just go to the movies or something. As I don't do that very often, actually.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know from talking to you last year that as far as holiday traditions with your family, things look a little bit different now. There are different masses that you do around Christmas time. There's, I think, you've got a few other things. Then you might see your family a little bit later on in the holidays. So what can you tell me about how your holiday traditions with your family has changed since you've been here as bishop?
It's been a lot more difficult as bishop maintaining family connections. I would say the past year as bishop, I did not get home to see my mother very often. I made an effort this year to plan better so that planning those times well in advance where I can get home. However, it's much more difficult as bishop to maintain those family connections. And this year, last year I had Mass at the cathedral Christmas Eve, and then I drove throughout the night so I could be home on Christmas Day in the morning. But this year that won't be possible. I have Christmas Eve Mass, and then I have to stick around here until the 28th, and we have the closing of the Jubilee. That'll be on the 28th. So I'll have a couple days at home with my mom. Then I'm going to Columbus for the Sikh conference, and then after that I'm going to San Diego for our Bishops of Region 9 retreat in San Diego. So it's a lot of travel coming up for me, but in terms of those family things that was always great as pastor. As pastor, I was only 20 minutes from home, which was very, very nice. I was very spoiled for a number of years. My mom and dad always came up for Mass on Christmas Eve. We always had dinner after Christmas Eve Mass, and then I'd go home for Christmas Day and so forth. But as a bishop, I'm still trying to find my patterns and practices, really. So,
do you have any holiday traditions with Rosa? Last year was your first holiday with Rosa.
Yeah, Rosa just kind of does her own thing, so I don't have anything planned with Rosa. She'll go home and with me to mom, and mom likes the dog, and the dog likes mom, and my mom will babysit for a couple weeks. So
I think I've heard that Rosa is Bishop's golden retriever, for those of you that don't know. But I think I've heard that Rosa likes to watch TV with your mom.
She does, and she watches TV with me. Usually basketball. She likes the movement. She'll watch the screen, and but she for whatever reason she watches TV.
On the off chance that you have a chance to watch TV over the Christmas break, what will you have on TV?
I do have some Christmas traditions. I always watch the Christmas Carol with George C. Scott, that version of the Christmas Carol. I watch that every year. I also read the original book, The Christmas Carol. I have a sort of a decorative heritage or legacy print copy of that as well. I like Bells of St. Mary's and It's a Wonderful Life. So those are my movies during Christmas. So.
I know It's a Wonderful Life's pretty popular at my house. It's my husband's favorite Christmas movie.
Well, I appreciate you making the time for us today. And if there's, I know you always write your messages in our print edition. Before we close, is there any message or words you'd like to leave our audience with for the coming Christmas holiday or the new year?
Just wish everyone peace during the holiday season. We live in a time of division and unrest, and talking with a lot of people, there's a lot of anxieties. But it's the joy of the Christmas season that should really fill our hearts with joy, and also peace with the coming of the Savior. So.
Okay, well, thank you, Bishop. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very much.
Now we're back.
So we just said our Christmas farewells to the bishop, but you get a bonus segment here on the podcast. Lindsay usually does a news roundup for us, and she's going to do that now. We've got a lot in this coming issue, Lindsay. Let's talk about it.
I think I was comparing it earlier to like an overstuffed Christmas stocking, even though technically it's not Christmas season yet, but it is our last issue of the year. So we've got a little bit of end of Advent content. We have a great column by Father Ben Snyder, who's one of our younger priests. And then we have a lot of heartwarming, I would consider, content about a new ministry in Iowa City called Gifts of Hope that a multi-parish group of women kind of got started to help moms who are going through a difficult time, who have chosen life despite that. We have a story about Byzantine Advent traditions, and we reveal who won our annual Christmas card contest. And there's also a big full color display of all the finalists, so chances are there's a kid near you that you might recognize. We're very proud of everybody who entered that this year, had some great entries. It was very hard to choose. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, this was my first time judging it. It is tough. There was a lot of debate among the staff about who to choose for that, and I think we did a good job. You're going to like the winner when you see it. So we went on creativity as well as artistic skill. It was a whole process. It was almost like being on a jury. So it was good.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun doing that every year. And we also have some news out of Centerville, which is a 4-hour drive, I believe, from Davenport. So one of the furthest out parishes, St. Mary's there. We have a story about their ongoing annual Operation Santa. Mitten trees, people buy gifts for people in the community that need a little assistance this time of year. It started as a ministry of St. Mary's, just really quickly became a full community effort. So it's great to talk to two of the co-directors of that and learn more about how things are going, what they find most encouraging about it, and the surprising people that end up getting involved every year. So we've got all that. We've got a good editorial this week from our what do you call her? Our editor emeritus.
Yes.
Editor emeritus, Barb Arlen Fye, who fortunately is still blessing us with her writing as she is able. And we have some nice columns coming up. And just a reminder, this is our last issue of the year. So we will see you again in print on, I believe, January 8th. Well, I hope it's not July. That's a little far out there.
So please, please come back and listen to our next episode of the podcast, but also look at our print edition. I just like to thank Lindsay for the roundup and the help, because we had some technical difficulties today, but we were able to power through. And I just want to remind everybody that we are sponsored in part this week by Religious Supply Center. They sell supplies, gifts, cards, and memories. They're located at 1301 Jersey Ridge Drive in Jersey Ridge Road in Davenport. And you can call them at 563-324-0669. And more information on that is at religioussupply.com. And remember, if you're interested in subscribing to the print edition, you can go to catholicmessenger.net or anywhere that you see us on the web. We have stories that you can look up on social media. So thanks for joining us for this issue, and Merry Christmas to everybody. And Lindsay?
Yeah, I think we're going to be, just in a few days, we will be off for 2 weeks. Dan, do you have any big plans with your family?
Well, I think we're probably going to try to get the Grinch meal at McDonald's. We've hit up at least 3 McDonald's so far, and we could not find that. So I might have to drive to a different state. I don't know what it's going to take, but that's one of the goals for Christmas. So
we got lucky enough. My kids always want to go to McDonald's, so my husband and I let them go through maybe about once a week. And it just so happened that when I was going through McDonald's to get them their Happy Meals, I saw the Grinch Happy Meal, like one of those for adults, and they came with socks. So I wasn't planning on eating there, but I definitely picked that up. And I'm glad I did, because it seems like it's been probably more popular than McDonald's would have anticipated. And even a couple days later, we went back again. So my son Bradley could get the Grinch Happy Meal, and saw that he wasn't the only kid, Bradley's 9, who wanted to get that instead of the traditional Happy Meal. So my only thing is that the socks, they're good for an older kid, they're good for women, but if you have bigger feet, they're probably not going to fit you. but I can attest that they are very cute. And if you end up not having any luck, I did keep the box. So if your son would just like to see the box, I'd be more than happy to send that his way.
Well,
Merry Christmas.
That's awesome. Thank you, Lindsay, and thanks for your help today. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.